Hey, what's going on? I just wanted to take a few minutes of your time to share with you something that I'm being challenged with myself in the book of John. One of the ways that God chooses to converse with me is through difficult and challenging questions. And this is something that He laid on my heart, and maybe it can challenge you and how you view the world and keep you accountable to being the light we're supposed to be. So several weeks ago, I got called back to the book of John to spend time reading. And in this transition, God had kind of had me start to look at the way I view His children. And He just kind of asked me this question: do I let people's past or what I know about people determine or dictate if I will share the gospel with them? So I'm reading through John, and I'll read you just the first few verses and come quickly to my point. John 1, in the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. All things were made through Him, and without Him nothing that was made that was made. In Him was life, and that light was the light to all men. The light shines in the darkness, but the darkness did not understand it. So here was my situation when God decided to bring up this verse that I'd been reading. My cell phone was stolen from church. And something that was very valuable to me but can be replaced. But it was taken by someone that we know, and it's a homeless gentleman, and a couple other people with him had my phone, and they lived down at the river. And I went down to confront him on a Wednesday after he had taken it that Wednesday morning, and he said he didn't have it. I had my younger brother there with me, and it was just like, well, I don't have your phone. I can come up and help you find it. That following Thursday, it turns out that he did have my phone. We ended up getting the police involved, and my phone was returned to me safely. But I saw one of the gentlemen who was involved walking one day back to the river where they live, under the bridge. And I was driving the church van, and I really, in my heart, I was just like, man, just hit this man with the window of the van, just the mirror part, just kind of nudge him a little bit. He was walking in the road anyways. But I went around him, and I felt God saying, you need to stop and pick him up. So I was like, no, God, I don't want to stop and pick him up. I know about this person. I know what he's done and who he is and what he's about. But after a little bit, I was obedient. I picked him up and I drove him back to the river, and I felt God just kind of saying, now watch him walk down this dirt path. And he walked down the dirt path, back up under the bridge, and I got ready to turn the church van around to go back to the church, and I felt God just saying, that's one of my children. And in that moment, it was I got extremely emotional because it was a difficult thing to hear, because what that did was it showed me an image of myself. Who am I to withhold the gospel or the truth or what sets men free because of what I know about them or what I think I know about who they are or who they were? As I read to you in the book of John, in the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. It goes on to say that all things were made through God. And if you read a little bit further in 14, it says the Word became flesh. So as I am laying in my bed thinking about this and thinking about my recovered stolen phone and how vulnerable I feel now at church, like I feel like I need to be checking at all times to see where these people are, God simply took an opportunity to show me that before you were formed, I knew you. I knew all the dirt that you would do and everything that you would accomplish. I know the sins that you hide in your heart that no one else sees. I knew them all before you were born, and I chose to come for you anyways. It's a hard lesson for me, and I would say for a lot of people in our world, because we determine how we are going to interact with people based on what we know. But if we already have some preconceived notions about who they are because of what they've done, are we really giving them Christ? Are we really lowering our barriers and being vulnerable before them to show them that we were once in darkness? Or are we these people trying to protect our things and our families, therefore alienating people from God? It's something I still wrestle with. My phone was returned. I plan on reconciling with these people this week. And I plan on trying my best to be Christ to them, because I want forgiveness from Christ for what I've done. And I want to know that he came for people like me. But if that's true for me, it has to be true for them also. So in conclusion, you may not know the people around you as well as you think you do, or you may know them, but they still deserve to know about Christ. Thank you. Pray for me as I move forward in this journey, and I'll be praying for you.